As we kick off a new trading week, Wall Street is eyeing new records. We're seeing the Dow Industrials trade at new record highs and the S.p.A 500 eyeing a new record close. Now, joining me this afternoon is Peter Cardillo of First Standard Financial. He joins me after this weekend's events in Italy. Peter, thanks for joining me today.
Good to be back.
Well, Italy's prime minister announced his resignation after the referendum retreat. We saw wild swings for euro-dollar. But what is the future of the euro ahead of this week's ECB meeting?
Well, I was somewhat surprised at the percentage of this defeat. It was basically a landslide for the no vote. And I was quite surprised that, with the exception of Italy, stock market being down, that Europe and the U.S. took it in stride. In fact, we're seeing the euro actually up on the day. And I kind of think that this is the calm before the storm, because I do believe that this no vote is probably going to mean another renewed crisis in terms of the banking issue in Italy, which probably will spread through the rest of Europe, that is Germany in particular. And so I kind of think for now, the markets are saying, well, who cares? But I think it's going to be a bit of a problem going forward for the euro.
And Peter, before we move away from the Eurozone, I do want to ask about your expectations for the possibility of an early election in Italy. In terms of politics, what do you think will happen?
I'm not sure if we'll see an early elections, but obviously there will be some of the parties that will be calling for that. Probably we're looking at another possibility of a technical government being installed in Italy, and then, of course, elections following that. It was a pretty big upset, and as I said, I'm just surprised that the markets have not reacted in a negative way.
Well, speaking of action in the markets, we're seeing oil futures elevated today. Earlier, WTI was above $52 a barrel. And as you said last week, if we do get an OPEC decision, oil futures will rally above $50. And we did get that production cut deal out from OPEC. So where do we go from here?
I think we see $55. By the way, Brent did trade as high as $55 this morning. I think we're going to see the WTI here in New York trade between $52.5 and $55 by year end, and then possibly $60 in the first quarter of the new year. One of the biggest things that I think has caught this market by surprise is that a lot of the oil critics seem to be surprised themselves. And I think that's a good sign that the market actually believes that OPEC is probably going to stick to this agreement because of that 6-month revisiting of the agreement. And I think that means that, of course, there'll be some cheating. There's no question about that. But I think it'll be limited. And I think that the market is basically now in the process of rebalancing itself. And so with the agreement and with the process that already was in place of the market rebalancing, I think higher oil prices are here to stay.
Okay, Peter. Well, thank you so much for joining me at the beginning of the week, and we'll see where we are next week when you join us again. Thank you.
Pleasure.